So Careem is basically an online car service, a chauffeur-driven car service. Users, our customers, can actually go online, make a booking for a chauffeur-driven car, either for a time in the future or for right now. They can also make the bookings on smartphones such as iPhones and Android devices. And after they request a car, the car will be dispatched to pick them up. They will be able to see the car in real time on their devices. The car will come and pick them up. The drivers will know the pickup location. They will know the drop-off location. So no more calling the customers to figure out how to get to the pickup or how to go to the drop-off. They will reliably get to your pickup location. They will reliably take you to the drop-off location. And once you get to the drop-off location, you basically just leave the car. No need to pay anything. The thing is built to your credit card on file. So it's a very seamless and easy to use car service. We currently are live in 4 cities in the Gulf. We're live in Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Doha, and most recently in Riyadh. And our target market is consumers who are actually able and willing to pay slightly higher prices than taxis to get a more reliable service. And a big part of our business also comes from corporates. So large organizations, consulting companies, law firms who need reliable transport for their staff use the service to get around town in these 4 cities. And very soon, inshallah, we'll expand to other parts of the Gulf as well. And if you're not in a city near you, we'll be there pretty soon. So we started the business in June last year, so exactly a year ago. And it was started by myself and my business partner, Magnus. We were both consultants at McKinsey. And one of the things that got us started was the pain that we were having with ground transportation. So, as consultants, we travel a lot. And we would use airlines, hotels, and cars. What we realized was the airlines and hotels, the systems were quite streamlined. The experience was actually quite good. But when it came to cars, a lot of things were broken. The services were not reliable. People were not able to make bookings easily. The drivers get lost all the time. They would give us missed calls. And, all kinds of things were broken. And we realized when we dug under the surface that the industry has not adopted technology to the same extent that airlines and hotels have. So what we started doing was we started enabling the providers in the market with the technology that would allow them to operate more reliably and at a much higher level of service. So currently we work with 25 providers across the 4 cities, and they use our technology. So basically every car that we work with has a device in it that has been given by us. And when a customer requests a booking, the booking automatically gets sent to the car that is the nearest. And if the guy wants to accept it, the driver wants to accept it, he gets the booking and goes. We are growing quite rapidly, both on the corporate side as well as the consumer side. So the business is growing at about 40% month on month. Our expansion plans are to cover at least 2 more cities this year. So we plan to be, inshallah, in Jeddah and Dammam this year. And then next year, we plan to cover the other major cities in the GCC and a few cities in North Africa. We are basically, if you think of it, we are basically a value-added aggregator of cars in the Middle East, which means that we don't have our own cars and drivers. We basically are a operations and technology layer on top of existing providers. What that basically means is when a booking comes, we find the most eligible driver for that booking and we dispatch the booking to that driver. Now it doesn't mean that we wash our hands of the booking and then you deal directly with the driver. Not at all. We take full responsibility of the delivery of the service and we give you the customer service as well. Now for providing all of that service and enabling these providers with the technology, we charge a small commission. And when you pay, let's say, $100 for the service or $50 for the service, it's actually not that expensive, then we take a small cut and we give the remaining money to the provider that did the booking. So as you can tell, right, we are a year-old company that is been quite widely adopted among the early adopters in the market. So a lot of the tech-savvy people in our cities know of us and they currently use the service. But we're not a household name yet. So we came to the conference to raise awareness of the product and the service that we are providing. We also came with the intention of networking with other startups and other businesses in the ecosystem that can help us and those that we can help. And finally, we came to the conference to meet potential investors. We have recently secured some funding, but we have aggressive and ambitious growth plans, and we're always on the lookout for strategic interest to grow the business. Of course, there is competition in the ground transportation space. So most people currently use either taxis or they use limos, as they call them in this market, for getting around town if they don't have their own cars. So we're definitely in some ways competing with people's cars. So a lot of people have their own cars, and we need to now tell them that this experience is so much better than their own car that they would start using the service instead of having their own car and their own driver, which is of course expensive. So that's definitely one competition, the existing way of doing things. There's definitely competition from existing limo providers. So when we go and pitch for corporate business, we are in most cases competing with other limo providers who are trying to get the same business. So we definitely compete with them. And of course, our advantage compared to them is this technology-enabled service that is very easy to access, easy to use, and it's much more reliable. So we definitely compete with the limo providers. And then finally, there is a segment of the population where we compete with the taxis as well. So people use taxis to get around town, but there are certain use cases where people are willing to pay a little bit more for a slightly more reliable and a luxurious ride. So in that market, we compete with the taxis.